Hi y'all, once again welcome back. Today I am with another interesting topic for discussion. The topic for today's discussion is privatization. It is very vast hot topic now. It is very relevant in India too in this current scenario. So let's discuss about privatization. Firstly, definition of privatization. The transfer of ownership, property or business from the government to the private sector is termed privatization. The government ceases to be the owner of the entity or business. So it is a transfer of ownership from which to which? From government to private. That is termed as privatization. Till that particular period, government has taken all the running options of a particular business firm and now it is seized and it is carried out by another private company. It may be not a complete selling of shares, but more than 50% of shares will be in the hand of private company. Then it is termed as privatization. The stock of the company is no longer traded in the stock market and general public is barred from holding stake in such a company. So till that time, the shares can be available in the stock markets and the general public can take part in that auction. But when a privatization happens, that process cannot be done. It is barred from holding stake in such companies. The company gives up the name limited and start using private limited in the last name. When we check the company names, for government companies, their last name only is written as limited. For example, Bharat Petroleum Limited. Up to some period of time, it is just like that. But now the movement is going on to change that into Bharat Petroleum Private Limited. Okay, that is the change. When it is a government company, the last name will be just limited. But when it is turned to a private one, the last name will be changed to private limited. So this is about privatization. And there are some of the ways to get privatized. Just we can check what are those ways of privatization. Government companies are transformed to private companies in two ways. Transfer of ownership. The first thing is transfer of ownership. Government companies can be converted into private companies in two ways: by withdrawal of the government from ownership and management of public sector company. Now the government is withdrawing from which part? From the part of ownership and management of a particular company. The ownership and management is transferred to a private authority or to a private person who had taken the company for operation. So it is one way. By outright sale of public sector companies. When the public sector company is outrighted for sale, then also the privatization takes place. And the second way is de-investment. De-investment means privatization of the public sector undertakings by selling off part of the equity of public sector units to the private sector is known as de-investment. The first way is completely share of or completely transfer of ownership and management to a private party. Now the second way is de-investment. That is, they are selling part of the equity from the public sector units to a private sector. Now, more than 50% of the share is in hand of a private sector or private authority. It is termed as de-investment. The purpose of the sale is mainly to the improve financial discipline and facilitate modernization. So for what this de-investment is done? The de-investment is done to improve financial discipline. When the government company is under very crisis financial condition, under debt, then to improve the financial discipline and also to facilitate modernization. For example, sometimes the company may be taken by foreign investors so that the foreign facilities, the modernized, new, innovated versions of discipline will come to our land. Thus, the company will become more modernized. For that also, this privatization took part. And however, there is a sixth method of privatization, the public sale of shares. I told more than 50% of the share will be transferred to the private parties. Public auction. A public auction will be done in order to select a particular investor and handed the operation over to him. Public tender. The government may call upon public tender, direct negotiations. By performing direct negotiation meetings, the public enterprises will be transferred to the private ones. Transfer of control of state or municipally controlled enterprises. Lease with a right to purchase. Okay? Leasing also possible, but also a right to purchase will be also agreed upon the agreement of that particular lease. So these are some of the methods of privatization. And just like everything, the privatization also have both advantages and disadvantages. So just look, advantages. Sale of assets generate a great deal of income. When a public or government owned enterprise is sold to a private one, the government will get a lot of income. They can use that particular income for a lot of purposes. So it generates a great deal of income. Nationalized industries were inefficient. We all know in India we are in a developing stage. So we have a lot of inefficiency to handle. So when some foreign direct investors came to West and they play their role to undertake our organization, the organization will become modernized and we will be also reaching to a developed stage. One sold little political interference. So when a particular government property is sold to a private one, completely they will be for what? In order to make profit. Okay. So in our country, we all know there are a lot of political interference in doing things. When privatization increases, the political interference upon a particular modernization decreases. So in such a way, it is also a good thing. Increase share ownership. It increases the share ownership. Improve accountability to shareholders and consumers. If it is a government organization, we can't able to directly approach and we can ask, oh, what we want this, we want this. But when it is a private one and we are paying for a particular thing, we can directly approach them. Okay? There are a lot of legal suits. We have to act against them. In such a way also, privatization is an advantage. And about the disadvantages, privatization has been expensive. As we are taking over the government organized companies, the privatization needs a bulk sum of money. So it is quite expensive. Argued that privatization has not led to greater competition. So in case of privatization, it is argued that it not led to greater competitions. Nationalized industries were sold off too cheaply. It is also a disadvantage. Natural monopolies have been sold off. We all know Indian Railway. In lot of questions we had asked, just name a monopoly in our country. We name it as railway, the first one, right? But when the privatization improves in our country, even the railway is also becoming a privatized one. Natural monopolies have been sold off. Once part of the private sector, any parts that make a loss will be closed down. We all know if it is a government company, if a loss arises also, they can shut down it and go off or move off. But when it is a private sector, when the loss happens, surely every business is for profit, right? For a private organization, the only aim is to make profit. If they are not able to earn profit means, they will surely shut down it and move off. So it is also a problem. So this is about the privatization, some of the advantages, disadvantages, ways of privatization. And now we can look some of the current scenario. This picture, look at this picture, a lot of bank, Indian Railway, everything is under the privatized condition. So just we can go through some of the news. Some of the news headlines I had given here. Power sector employees on Thursday held nationwide protest the government's decision to privatize DISCOMS, the All India Power Engineers Federation AIPEF said. So now in India, the electricity board privatization is going on. So the privatize the DISCOMS, a lot of activities is going on. A lot of protest also arising in our nation. BPCL privatization bid closes today, all eyes on Reliance Industry. BPCL, I told, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. Now it is going to change to Bharat Petroleum Private Limited or in any other name. A lot of names are, a lot of eyes are towards the name Reliance Industry. The Reliance Industry is going to earn more than 50% of the share of Bharat Petroleum. It is on case of privatization. Railways to run private trains, 13 players including GMR and L&T shortlisted. I told in earlier days, railway sector is the best example for monopoly in our country. But now railway is also under the privatized category. Next, Trivandrum Airport privatization. Adani Group prepares for takeoff. Lot of legal suit where again is this case. Trivandrum Airport has given privatization, is under the condition of privatization. Adani Group prepares for the takeoff. Even now in court, lot of cases are running against this particular matter. When we are looking through all these things, what do you feel? Whether privatization is a boon or a curse? Actually, I feel it is just like the two sides of a coin. It have both boon and curse side. Why? Because when we think about the boon, it improves the foreign direct investment. It attracts the investors to our country. Our countries, our organization, everything will become modernized. We will be also reached in the condition where the developed countries were in. But at that same time, some of the demerits were a lot of employment opportunity. The government employment opportunity will be reduced. Now we know in railway we are getting a lot of employment opportunities. Just like that, in privatization also will get employment opportunity, but the job security provided by the government sector enterprises will be changed. So just like that, the employment problem will be arised, the current employment situation will be changed, and just like that, when the particular organization is under loss, surely the private sector enterprises will shut down it and move on. Lot of curse side is also there. Anyway, we can hope for the best. So, another day, I will come up with another interesting topic. Till then,